Well, Western Sydney Wanderers have wasted no time in replacing recently departed head coach Carl Robinson. Mark Rudan, the former Western United, Wellington Phoenix head coach, is in. It's big news, and it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is to this. The news has just dropped this morning, Monday morning, and it's a big appointment because obviously Western Sydney Wanderers, so many people watching them, such a big fan base, and these fans want them to succeed. And let's just go ahead and dive into the statement that has just been released on the official website here from Western Sydney Wanderers. So. You can see that main headline there. Western Sydney Wanderers FC have today appointed Mark Rudan as head coach of the club's Isuzu Youth A-League men's team until the end of the 2021-22 season. So it's not like it's a long-term deal or anything, but of course he could be signed on for longer. But it shows that, they just want him to come in and stabilize it as well. I see you guys jumping into the live chat. Lax is in here. Costa's in here as well. Let's continue reading the document here, the article here from Western Sydney Wanderers. The Western Sydney local started both his playing and coaching career in the region at the NPL. Heavyweight Sydney United, of course, before stints coaching Rockdale City Suns and Australia's under-20s national team. Rudan made his coaching career debut in the A-League in 2018 with Wellington Phoenix, where he guided the club to a historic season, taking the men's team to 9 matches undefeated, as well as the final series for the first time in 3 years. And that's probably the one, when you look at Mark Rudan and they want to bring in a coach with proven A-League experience, they've got someone, and he's done it twice with Wellington Phoenix, and I'm sure as they'll state later in the article about with West United, his first season in charge, and got them, they almost made it to the grand final, West United, in their first season. So, look, it was for me, it's a decent appointment. What are we saying in the chat? Ivan's in here, says a change of manager won't change anything at the club. The problems lay higher up at board level and the culture. Yeah, and that's something that I brought up. I remember in a few weeks ago. Well, a few weeks ago, it was a while ago now. It was maybe like a month ago. It broke on Twitter. These rumors, the word that there were issues going on behind the scenes. Hey, but look, will this? Yeah, it's a good question. Like, maybe this won't change anything. Is it higher up where personnel has to be changed potentially? Let's keep having a look at the article here. You can see, of course, it goes on to say, we won't go through the whole article, it's a little bit long, but 2019, Rudan was appointed as the inaugural coach of West United, of course, for 2 seasons and took the squad to the finals in their first season. And, of course, this is available on the Western Sydney Wanderers page here on Keep Up, so guys can check out the full article if you are interested. But look, it's you can see we might read some of the quotes down here from Mark Rudan. He says, as a Western Sydney local, I'm proud to be representing the region where my career and passion for football began. We have high expectations here at the club, and I'm eager to bring back grit, intensity, fight, passion at the club. And look, that's exactly what Western Sydney Wanderers fans will want to hear, because that's exactly what they've been lacking, not only this season, but past seasons as well. Western Sydney Wanderers, a team who have always had a decent squad, and this season, in my opinion, probably have the best squad on paper they've had maybe in 6-7 years, with so many star players: Dimitri Petratos, Tom Ahmed. The list is so long. There's quality all over the park. And Carl Robinson wasn't unable to get these players to gel and to play a system that was really working for them. It was Rudan, the right man, to come in and fix up this squad, to bring them together, because you get the sense that maybe there is some, concern amongst the players themselves. They are aware of the speculation around the club. They are aware of the scrutiny that's being placed upon them by the media, and rightly so. We just saw from the Western Sydney Wanderers' most recent performance against Brisbane Roar, arguably the worst performance we've seen in the A-League this season from an individual team. The Wanderers weren't in the game at all. It's hard to think of a player who really played well in that game in a Western Sydney shirt. It was, to be fair, it was their first game in a while, and they have been really out of action in this past month. I think they've only played 2 games now in maybe a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months now. But look, Mark Rudan's in. It's a big appointment. It's a big signing. Would love to get your guys' thoughts on it. Is he going to be the right man to sort of redirect Western Sydney Wanderers back on track and potentially get them into the finals this season? Look, it's still super early. Like there's still so many games to go. So it could happen. Western Sydney Wanderers are currently sitting second bottom on the ladder, so it's not looking good for them at the moment. But of course, have games in hand. me personally, I think it will work. I think it will work when we look at, Mark Rudan, especially coming in a first season. You have to look at, his ability to come in and make do with the squad that he has in a first season. And he's done it twice. He's done it at Wellington Phoenix and at Western United. Western United especially was an incredibly challenging one to come in and take a new crop of players, a brand new club. To take a brand new club and take them to the finals and make them a competitive side. It was really impressive from Mark Rudan. So, look, some of the other names were being thrown around. I know a lot of people were hoping for Alan Stajic. I was speculating in the video I released yesterday, speaking about the departure of Carl Robinson, that maybe, promoting Gary Van Egmond to head coach could be an option as well. But that's a really good sort of brain trust at West Sydney Wanderers now. They've got Rudan in charge, and then assistant coaches in Haliti and Van Egmond. It'll be interesting to see whether those guys stay on. I imagine they will. Like I can't see them leaving with Rudan coming in. Whether maybe Rudan wants to come in and sort of. It'll be interesting to see how strong he wants to make his footprint on this club. You know what I mean? Like whether he wants to bring in his own assistants. So. Yeah, maybe. Tom Mattel says, Lax, that is right. So, I mean, this could not work. This could maybe not work out. Of course, Western Sydney Wanderers have had a number of coaches in the past, and it just hasn't been clicking at all. Nothing's really worked. In the chat here, Wanderers still have a lot of potential, 100%, dude. Like, if Mark Rudan can get these players firing, if Dimitri Petratos can regain his confidence, if they can get Tom Ahmed scoring goals, then yeah, they're a chance. And have a chance to still make finals, 100%. Still so easy, hey. Julian says, I guessed it, the return of Mark Rudan. That's right. It was, from what I saw online, it was a name that was being thrown around, but it wasn't like a popular one. Like it wasn't like the first choice, but it's happened. Hey. So look, it'll be fascinating to see whether he can, bring these players and make it work, because it is, no disrespect to Western United and Wellington Phoenix, but this is the most high-profile squad he's taken charge of, and even with his past experience, it's good that he is a Western Sydney lad. He knows the Sydney football scene very well, being an NPL coach with some of those NPL level sides there, and yeah, man, I think he'll be keen to, as he said there in the article, he'll be keen to represent this side, this club. And, of course, former Sydney FC man as well during his playing days. So it's going to be an interesting battle in the Sydney derby. Steve Coric up against Mark Rudan, two players who I believe would have played together over a decade ago at the Sky Blues. So that'll make the derby a little bit more interesting as well. But yeah, just going back to my point I just said just a second ago about this being the most high-profile squad that Rudan has taken charge of. When you look at Wellington Phoenix, the players that he had at his disposal there. I mean, I remember Max Burgess was a key one for me. That's the one that really sticks out. I mean, he really made him flourish. And Max Burgess before that was a player who was sort of, I guess, in A-League limbo. Like he spent some time at Sydney FC, I believe, earlier. Didn't quite get clicking, like didn't really become like a regular A-League player. And he was, Rudan identified Burgess, brought him over to New Zealand and turned him into a fantastic player and had a decent first year at Western United as well. Second year didn't quite work out for Burgess, and now, of course, he's back at the Sky Blues. So, we could expect this from Mark Rudan to maybe bring some of the more, I don't want to say mediocre players, but maybe we could expect to see maybe some of the younger players who maybe aren't quite getting a look in. I think Western Sydney Wanderers maybe this is the right time with these star performers not playing, give the young guys a run. We've seen it happen at Adelaide. We've seen it happen at the Central Coast Mariners, and it's worked. So, whether the likes of Lapane get a run in the squad, Battleado as well, who made some appearances early on in the season. And I'm sure there's some other youngsters in the Wanderers Academy there who we'll be looking at this change of leadership as a chance for them to step up and place their, make a stamp in the squad here as well. Julian says Western United versus Western Sydney Wanderers will also be very interesting. Good point. Mark Rudan returning to his former side, of course. I mean, when Mark Rudan was parted ways with Western United last season, it wasn't like the most bitter of departures at all. He did a decent service to the club there, but it obviously wasn't quite working out for them last season. Western United struggled, especially towards the end of last season as well. Hey, so when we look at and even thinking back to the past, I remember when it was actually a bit more controversial when Rudan went to West United and after leaving Phoenix after a year, and there's some I think there's some really funny posters. There's like a great shot of Mark Rudan playing his first game back in Wellington, in charge of Western United as well. Adrian's in the live chat. How's it going, Adrian? Preston's here, says, nice content. Thanks, man. Cheers, bro. We're here. We had to jump on the live. We had to jump on the live reaction to this big news. Because, yeah, big news, man. Mark Rudan is actually in Western Sydney Wanderers. Yes, that is right, Adrian. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll pull up the article again if you're just tuning in, and just to show you what's going on here. So this is off the Western Sydney Wanderers official site on Keep Up here. You can see Wanderers appoint, there we go. Wanderers appoint Rudan, and again, this is on their official website if you want to check out the full article. But yeah, it's official, man. He signed on to just the end of this season, so it's not like it's a long-term deal or anything. He'll come in and potentially, what do you guys think? Like, do you think he'll be able to come in and revolutionize this side? You know, again, he's a coach that we've seen. He's had reasonable success with Wellington. His first season in charge of Phoenix took them to 6th place. Made the finals with them. Same thing with Western United. Managed to get a final spot with his first season in charge of Western United as well. So, yeah, man, it's happened, and I think it's good for Western Sydney Wanderers that they didn't drag on the appointment too long. I mean, they could have done that, with Gary Van Egmond now there. They're like, okay, well, maybe we'll just. Sorry, Gary Van Egmond will be interim for a few weeks, and we'll find someone. They brought in Rudan the day after sacking Robinson, and that again sort of just confirms that. I think the sacking of Robinson was this, like the Brisbane game was the final straw. It's like, if we don't get a good result here, if we don't have a good performance, then yeah. Preston says he will be good. Adrian says, I think he might turn this side around. I think he could, dude. I think he could. Like when you look at his coaching tendencies previously in the A-League, and the quality that Western Sydney Wanderers have in their squad. It's dude, it's going to be fascinating to watch. And if I was a Wanderers fan, I'd be excited. I would be. I'd be optimistic. Well, cautiously optimistic, because Western Sydney Wanderers fans have been optimistic in the past, and it hasn't quite worked out. So I'm sure Wanderers fans, if you're watching, you will be a little bit cautious about how things are going to play forward. Preston says it was quick, dude. It certainly was quick, wasn't it? Right on the next day. So not wasting any time. But look, as it was Ivan who raised just earlier in the live chat here, and it was a good point, whether this fixes things for Western Sydney Wanderers, that's the question, If they start winning games, do we sort of forget about what we've heard about going on behind the scenes, with the leadership, with the sort of the energy around the club, the mentality around the club as well. And yeah, man, it's an early appointment too. It is still early on the season. We have to remember that. So but it's big news. It really is massive news, and it's not surprising that, of course, Carl Robinson was sacked as the first coach. It clearly wasn't working out there, and Mark Rudan is in. He's back. He is back. Shadow says Wanderers must have had that appointment ready. I reckon so. Hey, I reckon they would have lined him up, and it does make sense. It does make sense when you look at all of it. He's got A-League experience. He's done okay in the A-League previously in the last few years, and he's a Sydney lad. He's a Sydney lad, and it's not like it's tricky as well mid-season, especially in the A-League. It's not like there's a wealth of coaches, quality coaches out there ready to jump in. So, yeah, man. Dill's in here. How's it going, mate? Just reacting to this news here. Hey. Dill says it's good that Stadge didn't take it. Yeah, dude. Well, and from what we're hearing, Stadge is doing really well with the Philippines women's national team at the moment. I think I heard they scored a World Cup qualification, if I'm not mistaken, with the Philippines, which is massive news. But yeah, that would have been weird as a Mariners fan seeing them in there as well. Shadow says, I thought Ernie Merrick might have had a chance at the job. To be honest, I don't know what Merrick has been up to these last few years. I don't, as far as I know, he hasn't really had any high-profile coaching jobs. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That could have been interesting, but Merrick hasn't really been involved since taking the helm of the Jets a few years back. Hey. So look, this is a fascinating one, man, and just really curious to see whether it works out. It could all fall apart. And look, if Rudan doesn't work, then yes, then more eyes will turn to what's happening in terms of the leadership, off the field for the Wanderers. I feel like this is the final one. Bringing in Rudan, it has to work now. It really, really has to work. Just a quick question would be on this week to discuss the FA Cup final. They haven't asked me to do anything, so but yeah, dude, all eyes on the FA Cup final this weekend, but haven't been asked to feature on their stuff. But look, big news. here for the West Sydney Wanderers. Big news for the A-League overall. Is this the time? Well, Wanderers make a charge. Before we tune off here, Theo's in the live chat says, Rudan is not the answer. Can't see this going well, I assume you mean. I doubt they will get a new manager bounce, considering Rudan plays a defensive system. West Sydney Wanderers have so many good attackers. It's a fair point. Do you know when West Wanderers are playing next? Wanderers play next on this Wednesday night at home to Perth Glory. So imagine Mark Rudan will be in charge there. It'll be interesting to see whether he tweaks the system or anything. Theo, it's an interesting point you bring up there, playing a defensive system. And you're right, the quality is in the attack more so for West Sydney Wanderers, and especially in midfield. It'll be interesting to see whether Rudan favours any of those midfielders in particular, now that they have Bacchus, Antonis, Rodwell, and Ugarkovic, basically 4 really good sort of holding midfielders, hey? Yeah, man. Do I think Rudan will turn it around? I think so. And I don't think Wanderers fans will want to get the hopes up, but I'm not a Wanderers fan, and I would be optimistic. If Central Coast Mariners brought in Rudan to replace Stajic, I'd be okay with it, because we see, his first seasons in charge with Wellington Phoenix, with Western United, took them to finals both times. Especially with Western United coming into a brand new club and revolutionising. Sorry, not revolutionising. They're a brand new club. That's the wrong word to use. Coming into that new club and making them competitive in their first year. That's a tough gig, man. Not many coaches have done that in the A-League. Obviously, Tony Popovich did it at Western Sydney Wanderers. Western Sydney Wanderers, of course. So will this be another one for Mark Rudan? Potentially. But look, guys, get your comments down below as well if you're watching this on replay, and we'd love to get your thoughts on whether Rudan will be the man to turn it around. That's the simple question. Yes or no? What do you guys make of it? Keep an eye out on all of the FFA Cup preview action coming up this week here on the YouTube channel, and so much more content coming, whether it is the A-League, Socceroos, or Central Coast Mariners. Have a fantastic week, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.